Hello everyone, welcome back to another anime review. We are reviewing an anime called Made in the Abyss. Now, Made in the Abyss is an interesting anime. So our main protagonist has a red whistle. She can go down there's a big giant hole in the earth of an island, and they try to do this thing. Our main protagonist has a red whistle, means that she's for beginners. Her teacher has a blue whistle, and he's trying to teach them what you need to find and what you need to go down and find this treasure and stuff like that. That's pretty much the gist of it. Okay, so that's the main gist of it. Now then, when they go, now first episode, she finds a robot that saves her life by a creature that flies around eating people, which is kind of interesting. The robot decides to help them out when she finds out that her mother wants her to come meet her down in the depths of hell. That's what I'm calling it right now. So that way they can live together. That's the main gist of things. So the teacher tells her what her mother asked them and what her mother thinks of it, and she decides to go down anyway without no repercussions. Okay, that's rule A. Rule B. When she goes down further in, she gets caught by a character because she wasn't supposed to go down further in. However, the person that catches her is her uncle, which her uncle has a black whistle, which is the next one down. He helps her out by giving her a potion so that way she won't be delusional, because that's what's gonna happen if she doesn't take it. So that's a really interesting thing. KK. When she gets further down, even further, she finds a white whistle, which the white lady with the white whistle knows her fucking mother. And she decides to tell her that her mother's dead. And she antagonizes them. And she also tells out the main character was born in the abyss, which is kind of interesting because usually if you're in the abyss and you're born down there, you're pretty much fucking dead already because of how the crazy shit happens down there. But that's beside the point. So that's what happens with that character. She trains them up because she wants to be nice, and she does tell her that her mother is still alive. She decides to tell her that, and she moves forward by training these two because the robot has a move that can shoot fireballs out of his robot arms. The problem is that there's a conflict on that. When he uses it, he sleeps for a long period of time. So when he does use it, the girl is pretty much on her own until he wakes up, which is probably like 6 to 12 hours, somewhere in that range. I don't know where. So she's on her own, defend for herself, and hopefully she doesn't die. Because some of the creatures in this anime are fucking weird and fucking smart. Like the first monster that they see together, and the only two characters that see them, is a monster where are a bunch of birds where they are eating a corpse, and they want to help the corpse out because he's still yelling for help. However, it's a dummy corpse because the corpse is not alive. That's scary as hell. And then they get taken away, but he uses the fucking fireball. But then they're pretty much screwed until he wakes up. That's what pretty much happens. And the white girl with the white whistle tells her that you need to make sure that move's only for emergencies only, because you're making her vulnerable when it comes to that attack, because she's only a red whistle because she's just a kid, man. So then it comes to episode 10, 11, and 12, because there's only 12 episodes in this anime. There are 3 movies that continue the story, I believe. But I'm not going to do that yet until I'm ready for that, because the episode 10, 11, 12, we get introduced to a girl that looks like a bunny. She got transformed into the bunny, but she still has her human brain that's still knowledgeable. She helps out the girl because of the fact that they were attacking a monster that could predict the future, because the monster is very, very intelligent, which I think is really interesting. The monster is very, very intelligent, and he can also read minds, I believe. I don't know which. But they get hit with its poison quills. It's like a porcupine. He shoots his quills up. He blocks all the quills, but the girl got hit in the hand, and her hand starts to blown up. So he cuts the circulation of her hand, but that's because the girl wants him to chop it off because of the fact that she is her blood is coming out of her eyes, her mouth, her fucking ears. It's fucking disturbing. So the robot guy breaks her fucking arm, which is fucking ridiculous. That was fucking gruesome. Like, seriously, goddamn. She stops breathing, he helps her out. Then the girl bunny saves her and her arm by fixing her arm, by making sure the arm doesn't make sure that the arm is very, very attachable, which is good. But the main gist of the anime is the fact that the anime is very gruesome at the very end of the anime. It is a horror anime, actually, to be honest with you. But I've seen more gruesome deaths than Higurashi and Alpha Lead, and also Blood Sea too. So that's the other issue with that. But when it comes to this anime, however, I wish there was more episodes, but they only have three movies to move along with the story because it leaves off on a cliffhanger. Because the new character wants the robot boy to kill her friend that doesn't even look like a human anymore, and she wants to kill her so she doesn't suffer because one of the other white whistles decides to do experiments on little kids, and he's just a psychopath, crazy lunatic that needs to get his ass kicked. But that's just my opinion. He's an asshole, and he deserves to fucking die, you fucking asshole. But where does it rank on all of these anime things? Well, first off, her two friends that are up in the surface, they appear every once in a while in the later episodes, but they only explain stuff that we already knew because we're watching it as it unfolds. But those two characters don't really do that much, because they're just doing the same thing over and over again. After the teacher tells her what the mother and this and that, and her mother's talks about her mother about her, the teacher doesn't really doesn't have any more scenes, which I think is really interesting. He does appear when the robot boy's trying to sneak out of the house, but that's his last scene. He doesn't really show up anymore. It's pretty much her two friends and her uncle explaining stuff on what's going on what their perspective is on the surface. But to be frankly honest with you, when it comes to a horror anime, it doesn't really get horror enough. It has one horror part in the very midway through, and at the end of the anime, there's fucking gruesome fucking shit. The robot boy fucking breaks her fucking arm. Like, how the fuck do you do that? Also, the bunny girl decides to travel with them as well at the very end of the anime. So now there's three of them instead of two characters, which is good because at least they have a medical person that knows what the fuck she's doing. Just a medical, and if she needs to heal them, she will do that. Okay. So, my thoughts on the anime as a whole, I think it's really good when it comes to other stuff. But to be frankly honest with you, there are some things that when it comes to a horror anime, I think that it has two issues. And this is the main issue I have with the horror anime aspect. It's not as horror as Higurashi Alpha Lead or Blood Sea, but I think it's better than another when it comes to a plot perspective because it paces its horror aspect later in the anime on how deadly this place is when you get further down into the anime. It paces itself like Higurashi. However, there's no more comedy in the fucking anime as a whole, and that's why I think it has an issue. So I'm going to give this anime an 8 out of 10. I think it's really good when it comes to all the aspects of it, and I hope you guys enjoy it. You should watch it. There's also horror. There's also 3 movies that I will be reviewing at some point. I don't know when. But I hope you guys have a nice positive day. Take care, and always stay positive.